Hello. As most of you are aware, unless you've been living under a rock, Godzilla is back. And I am a huge Godzilla nerd. So, in the last few months, as Godzilla grows closer to us, I've wanted to do something to celebrate. And I've marathoned the films until my eyes have bled, but I thought I'd do something like this, a video. Godzilla is something unique to, I think, everybody. and that's what I want to ask people. I want that to be the response to this, in whatever way suits you. What is Godzilla to you? I mean, on one hand, we like these movies because they entertain. We may be interested in giant monsters or dinosaurs or some combination. We may be interested in Japanese culture. For me, Godzilla is memory. Because of the nature through which I encountered these films, especially in an area that was exceptionally rural, information was scarce. So it was a long and drawn-out process. As a result, a lot of those moments, a lot of those discoveries are associated with key parts of my life and with people in my life. I have a terrible memory. I have to think a lot about what happened the day before. I don't recognize people that I interact with a lot. But I can look at these things and I can tell you a lot more about them than I should. These things are sort of totems. They, when I pick up a part of my collection, most of which is boxed right now, I know who gave it to me. I remember that moment, and I can't forget that moment. For instance, my grandparents, Samuel and Wilma, allowed me to stay up later than my parents normally would, and that led to my discovery of the Godzilla films. My grandparents, particularly my grandmother Wilma, actually it's impossible to separate her from Godzilla because of the things she did for me. She imported Japanese vinyl figures for me. She got me bootlegs of the latter Heisei series. I have posters for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 93, Godzilla vs. Destroya, and those are from her. I have, not with me, it's in storage right now, but Sean Lingenbach's unauthorized, or yeah, I think it's unauthorized, guide to Godzilla collectibles. That is nearly falling apart because that was my Bible. I carried that with me everywhere. I was obsessed with Godzilla, and through those items, I can't help but think of her. I can't help but remember the first time I ever saw a Godzilla figure. We were on vacation in Fort Myers, Florida. We went through Toys R Us, and we were near the bikes, and there was an Imperial Godzilla, and I freaked out. I had to have it. I had never seen a Godzilla toy before. I had only just discovered Godzilla at that time, and I can remember taking that with me everywhere. I posted some photos, and astounding beyond belief, noted the painted Imperial Godzilla. I can remember sitting and painting that because I'd been, as I told him, inspired by the scene of Godzilla bleeding profusely in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But I can remember my brother and I over the sink painting that. I can remember a lot of these things because of Godzilla. Because I can remember discovering those films with certain people and family members and gifts from them now are not only appreciated because they are Godzilla items, but because they are from those people. In fact, that's part of the reason I think I got into Godzilla. Again, after the '98 film, my interest began to wane a little bit. I watched Godzilla 2000, and I was reinvigorated. I was like, yeah, Godzilla's back. I lost track of things for such a period of time. In 2001, May of 2001, Wilma, my grandmother, passed away. And immediately thereafter, my parents divorced. And we moved to where she had grown up. And I went to a school that wasn't as good as the school I had originally gone to. And I experienced bullying for the first time, because I'd been in a pretty decent school, and I'd known all those kids my entire life, and suddenly I was in a school and an environment with kids that were just mean for the sake of being mean. They were cruel, and I'd never really experienced that. I had to be pulled out of that school and then placed in a private school, wherein I was with a new brand of sort of bullying. Verbal, though. I was able to keep up with that a little bit. But I found myself being drawn into Godzilla. The only DVD I owned of Godzilla was Godzilla 2000, and I remember religiously watching that. And I was browsing badmovies.org and Stomp Tokyo, and I was following the production of GMK at that time. And that's what it was. The person that had gotten me into that was gone. My grandmother that had sort of supported this addiction. And so I felt that I needed to probably subconsciously go back into the Godzilla fandom because it was comforting. It represents this level of acceptance and fantasy that I don't think anything really matches for me. And despite the darkness of the films, I think there's a sense of wonder and awe, which I think is what Godzilla should be imposing on these people. We should be in awe of the powers of the universe, and we should not be so reckless as to abuse them. But that's what Godzilla is to me. Godzilla is memory. Godzilla is childhood. Godzilla is comfort in a lot of weird ways. So what I would like is for people to respond to this and say what Godzilla is to you. And I guess it's okay if you just say, oh, he's a big, fire-breathing dinosaur. And then my inner nerd will shudder and correct you. It's actually more of a radioactive beam or mist, depending upon the film. But, thanks for listening, watching, and can't wait for the Return of the King. We're going to go watch Lord of the Rings Return of the King in the next room. And then Godzilla comes back, so that's also a thing, right? Okay. Thanks.